Honestly, I grew up playing literally everything, and I was super competitive, so my parents kind of just tossed me out there and wanted me to like get my energy out, whether it was soccer, softball, golf, track. I really did it all. And then when I got into high school, I kind of knew basketball was my future, and I loved it, and I wanted to practice it, and I think that's what was different. I like wanted to get better at it. I wanted to spend time working on my game, and that was probably what set that apart from all the other sports I played. They were just kind of like for fun with my friends. I was really competitive about it, but I didn't take extra time out of my day to go and work on my game and want to be better and be better than everybody else. So I think that's what kind of helped me figure out the path I wanted to take. And then I remember in high school, I played soccer and I was on varsity and I loved it, but my teammates would get mad because I would go and practice and work out and do basketball after school right before we had our soccer games, and they like couldn't believe that I was doing that. So I eventually had to give up soccer, even though I loved it, but I think it was just...
Caitlin Clark has always been a force to be reckoned with. But what we're seeing now is something else entirely. The WNBA has officially been put on notice. Clark isn't just leveling up her game, she's evolving into an unstoppable powerhouse.
Number 22, Caitlin Clark!
I think this is a good excuse to miss school.
Absolutely, to see your sister do that. Anna Stolke posting up, but you know who they go to. 22! Abby Marshall, here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
The newest footage shows a Clark who's not just stronger, but downright dominant, and defenders have every reason to be seriously concerned. If you thought Clark was a threat before, get ready. It's about to get wild.
She has a day in that opportunity. Clark for three, rattles for her first deep shot.
She's no longer just the sharpshooter we've all come to admire. She's been hitting the gym, packing on serious muscle, and gearing up to take the league by storm in ways we've never imagined. This is the kind of transformation that turns stars into legends, and we're here to break it all down. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest WNBA updates and in-depth takes on the biggest stories rocking the league.
Bumps had a good night here tonight. Points, she and Jackie Young leading the way at Clark. Boston screen, fire away. Yep.
Remember last season? Caitlin Clark was already a generational scorer, torching defenses with her endless range and fearless shot making. But there was one major flaw: physicality.
Effect! Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. I don't have that luxury. Nice give and go. Clark right at the cup. Rebound, back Vinley.
Futility from three for the Sparks. 0 for 9, and
stuck in the air there. Fact Bentley comes up with it. Here's Clark in transition where she's dangerous. Leaves it behind for...
There's just 1 of 5.
How about Fact Bentley running the floor there? Go threes.
Yeah, they do. Nice concept, but
it won't go.
Defenders didn't hesitate to take advantage of her lean frame, bumping her off her spots, crowding her, and putting her in tough, uncomfortable positions.
Women's basketball has found its fame, and the reason for that is a 22-year-old playing in just her first WNBA season. Indiana Fever's point guard, Caitlin Clark, has already become the face of women's basketball, despite this being her debut year. To cap it off, Clark has won Rookie of the Year award, and she did that in some style, a unanimous choice of 66 of the 67 votes going in her favor. But it isn't just skill and accolades that make her the most popular face here on the basketball court. Clark's off-field antics.
Skeptics were loud. Could she handle the brutal physicality of the league? Was she just another college phenom who would falter against bigger, stronger, and faster opponents? Fast forward to now, and Clark has completely turned that narrative upside down. She didn't just accept the challenge, she went straight at it.
Which makes it a really good offensive.
Clark seeing direction, feeds Boston. Indiana has the advantage. And Boston trying to beat all their opponents for the first time since 2010. Clark shot fakes the three, feeds inside to Boston for two.
This offseason wasn't just about fine-tuning her already deadly jumper or sharpening her handles. It was about building a physique strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with the most physical defenders in the league. She made strength just as much of a priority as skill. And the results? Absolutely game-changing. Clark dove into an elite strength and conditioning program designed to pack on muscle without sacrificing the agility and explosiveness that make her a nightmare on the court. Trainers built a plan centered around core stability, lower body strength, and endurance, making sure she could take the hits and still finish strong. She fully embraced weightlifting, resistance training, and explosive movement drills, transforming herself into a more durable, battle-ready version of Clark.
Third quarter. Behind the back, Clark. A wide open shot. And wide open is Caitlin Clark, but she can't knock it down from up top. Tries it again from a different spot. That will connect.
The transformation is undeniable. She's stronger, more balanced, and now able to initiate contact instead of just taking it.
You know, looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in, are you kidding me? She's a student of the game, she got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will, I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game, she continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this, but it's really hard to work on some of those things in season. So this might be an off-season thing, right? Let's continue to play to our strengths, let's find different ways to get the ball to our players, and then when we get time in the off-season, then we'll work on that next step or that next level.
The days of defenders pushing Clark around are a thing of the past. Now, she's the one setting the tone. And it's not just the fans and analysts who've noticed. Her coach, Stephanie White, has confirmed it too.
A new sight on the court here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. That decal right at the spot where Caitlin hit that fall-away 3. the logo three to take the NCAA scoring record.
In a recent statement, White made it clear. Clark didn't just fine-tune her physique, she completely rebuilt it. This isn't a small tweak, it's a full-on evolution, and it's already having a massive impact on her game.
Play. It's up, it won't go down, and this building knows.
See Mitchell's going, what happened? For Caitlin, what a reaction by Kelsey.
Her arms are more defined, a clear testament to the hours of weight training she's put in. Her core is rock solid, keeping her balanced even when taking heavy hits. Her legs are built for explosive power, giving her that extra burst when driving to the rim and extending her shooting range beyond what was already elite. Clark has transformed herself into a physical powerhouse, and the results? Undeniable. The added strength is showing up everywhere in her game. She's attacking the basket with more power, finishing through contact instead of getting knocked off course. Defenders who once pushed her out of position are now the ones getting bounced back.
I guess he determined that Ariel Atkins had possession.
Clark, the switch on to Dolson, steps back.
Steph Dolson's in drop, and the screen is so...
14 from the field, but they've got a 5-point mark circling around. Sets up Samuelson, who's wide open and free.
Her three-point range has stretched even farther, thanks to the added power in her legs. But maybe the biggest change? Her defense. Clark can now stand her ground against bigger, stronger opponents, turning her into an even more dangerous two-way force.
Whenever I decide to go to the WNBA, I hope it's that same thing. I hope I can continue to grow the game. I hope we're playing in front of sold-out crowds. I hope more teams are added to the league. There's so many tremendous players that don't even get the opportunity to play in the league, so.
The implications for the league are massive. A stronger Caitlin Clark isn't just a more lethal scorer. She's now a matchup nightmare for every team she faces. Physicality was the one weapon defenders had to try and slow her down. But with her transformation, that tool is completely off the table. Clark's added strength makes her even more dangerous. And now, opponents have to rethink everything. If she was already nearly unstoppable before, what does that make her now? Teams across the WNBA better start reworking their game plans, because the old strategies to contain her just became completely irrelevant. Every defender in the league will need to adjust, or they'll be left scrambling.
So the Indiana Fever fans are furious with this signing. Absolutely furious with the fact the Fever have signed someone who appears to be a Caitlin Clark hater in Brianna Turner.
The Indiana Fever just shook up the entire fan base with a major move. They signed Brianna Turner. But in less than 24 hours, she somehow managed to turn that excitement into a full-blown disaster. That's right. Within a single day, Turner went from the team's latest star signing to public enemy number one.
Brianna Turner, Sky fans hate her. There is no player the Sky fans hated more than Bri Turner, who came on a big contract, a genuinely big contract.
Here's where it gets wild. Turner didn't just ruffle a few feathers, she ignited a full-blown revolt. Fans are already demanding she be cut before she's even played a single game. What on earth did she do to cause such a storm? And how will this affect the Fever's season hopes? We've got the inside scoop, and believe me, you won't want to miss this.
So it looked like the Fever front office has made a huge mistake and screwed up Caitlin Clark for the 2025 season. They have created a hostile work.
Hard to believe, right? In less than 24 hours, Brianna Turner went from the Fever's exciting new signing to public enemy number one. Fans were hyped about landing a defensive juggernaut they thought would help propel the team up the ranks. But then, bam! Old tweets surface, and now everyone's asking, hold up, Did Turner just throw shade at Caitlin Clark?
A lot of the tweets and stuff do not look good. Do not look good from Bree Turner.
So, what did Turner actually say? She took a dig at Iowa's celebration for being NCAA runner-up, the same team where Caitlin Clark had an epic season. Turner tweeted, "Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runner-up. All players and coaches expected this respectfully. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does?" Oof. Not exactly the best way to win over your new fan base, right?
So, she tweeted this. "Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runners-up. All players and coaches expected." This is Iowa to hold celebration. Respectfully, I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does now? Haven't seen this before. But kudos to them for publicly honoring all they've accomplished this season. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up does? It does if you're Iowa. I'm sorry, it does.
But hold up. It gets even better. When fans started calling her out, Turner didn't backpedal or apologize. Nope, she pretty much told them to take a hike. She tweeted, "Feel free to unfollow me or block me if that is bothersome to you." Yeah, not exactly a warm welcome to your new city, huh?
Let's be real. She tweeted about the whole, do you remember the whole, harassment by the journalist? Or say not by the journalist, by the paparazzi, the TMZ person who tried to ask Kennedy Carter a question. And obviously she went and made a way bigger deal about that than it should have been.
Curious how the fans reacted? Let's just say the internet lost it. Fans were absolutely freaking out online. One fan even said, "The fact that her new team's fan base has been crashing out over this and harassing her for activism says it all. It's like Turner opened a can of worms, then grabbed a fishing pole and went to town."
When Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White and these people came out and basically said at the end of the season, and Kelsey Mitchell and all these people, she was really anti-Fever. I don't think she was necessarily anti-Caitlin Clark with what she said, but she was anti-Fever when everyone was saying, do not platform the trolls.
Here's where things get even juicier. Turner isn't backing down at all. She's holding her ground, and now people are left wondering, what's next? Will the Fever step in and try to smooth things over? Or are they going to let Turner keep tweeting her way into more chaos?
But at the same time, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because some of these WNBA players have probably never had paparazzi around them in their entire lives. So they might think one person kind of getting in someone's face, ask them a question on the street in a public place is harassment. And do I think on a personal level, the people doing paparazzi stuff is right and good? No, but there's a line. If we're calling that harassment, it's everything harassment.
One commentator couldn't help but point out that Turner didn't even last 24 hours before clashing with fans on Twitter. That's got to be some kind of record, right? It's like she speed ran the How to Alienate Your New Fan Base challenge.
She came out on Twitter saying we needed to platform the trolls. And when somebody responded that we need to platform the trolls and call it out, and it's the responsibility of everyone to call out all this, and it's someone responded was like, that's the worst thing you do. These aren't people. These are literally just internet trolls that are doing it for attention. And then she basically doubled down, was like, no, you're wrong. You need to platform the trolls.
You might be thinking, is this really just about a few tweets? Can't everyone just move on? But here's the thing. In today's sports world, social media is everything. It's how players bond with fans, how teams build their brand, and sometimes how careers go off the rails before they even get going.
It was purely a college wants to celebrate greatest team in the history of the college. And she comes out and goes why are they doing this? Runners-up shouldn't be doing this. No one would say this word if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. You just know that.
Think about it. The WNBA is on the rise. Caitlin Clark is headed to Indiana, and the Fever are getting more attention than ever. Then, here comes Brianna Turner, looking like she's ready to throw shade at the very fans who are supposed to have her back. It's like she missed the first rule of joining a new team. Don't insult the local hero.
That is the one thing where I'm that's the one direct thing with Caitlin Clark. But she has essentially not shown to be necessarily fully anti-Caitlin Clark, but she was definitely in the group of players that you will say you could brand as saying anti-Caitlin Clark stuff.
All right, so Turner's in deep water. What's her next move? Apologize? Try to make peace with the fans? Nope, not even close. she comes out swinging with a tweet that had everyone's jaws hitting the floor. Let me hit you with it. I will not bend the knee or change my online advocacy efforts to appease others while I anticipate receiving criticism, hostility, and invalidation. Can you believe she actually said that?
Instead of her coming in wanting a winning mentality, now Joanna Bonner had said some things online too, but what Brianna Turner just did is just completely disrespected the fan base as a whole.
You might be thinking, all right, maybe she's just standing firm on her beliefs. But here's the catch. Turner isn't just addressing social issues. She's flat out brushing off the concerns of her new fan base. And let me tell you, Fever fans are not having it. They're already demanding she be cut before she even gets a chance to step on the court.
Now, Brianna Turner is a different type of individual. Granted, she has defensive possibilities, and she's a great addition to have on a bench. But outside of that, she comes with a lot of baggage. Now, that baggage is now causing major concerns online, and people is demanding she be removed from this basketball team.
But hold up, it gets even wilder. Turner's not backing down. She's doubling down, saying she won't change for anyone. It's like she's tossing gasoline on a fire that's already raging. You've got to wonder, does she even care about winning over the fans? Or is she more focused on stirring up drama?
You didn't have no way to mediate anything to where okay, guys, I know y'all feel this way about me. Let's meet somewhere in the middle. How can we move forward this? How can we move forward and past this? Want to know what Joanna Bonner said? You can unfollow me. I'm not changing the way I feel.
Now, this isn't just about Turner. It's a full-blown crisis for the Indiana Fever. Can you imagine what's going through the front office's minds right now? They're probably in full panic mode, scrambling to figure out how to handle this disaster. Do they stand by their new player and risk pushing the fans even further away? Or do they distance themselves from Turner and risk creating tension within the team?
Now, is that something you want to say when you're newly to a team and you know the fan base seriously do not like you? Is to unfollow me? I'm not changing the way I feel. That right there showed me you don't care about the fans.
But here's where things get really interesting. Turner's attitude might be a bigger issue than anyone realized. This isn't just about one tweet or one player. It's about the whole team dynamic and how athletes have to navigate the tricky world of social media and public perception.
Now, these are the people that has to buy your tickets, watch the games, and pretty much cut your check. Now, I don't know how things was with you in Chicago. Maybe y'all was manipulated, brainwashed, but y'all speaking out and saying things outside of basketball and sparking these race wars is the reason y'all in this position.
Think about it. In today's sports world, players aren't just athletes. They're brands, influencers, role models. And when they join a new team, they're not just swapping jerseys, they're stepping into an entire new community. But Turner? It's like she completely forgot that part of the playbook.
Brianna Turner stated, unfollow me. That was her exact words, bro. Simply telling the fans to unfollow her. How selfish was that?
You might be wondering, is Turner the only athlete who's ever faced backlash for speaking out? Not even close. But here's the difference. Most athletes know how to balance their personal beliefs with their role on the team. They engage with fans, build bridges, and find common ground.
Why come we can't fix the discrimination and get an understanding, meet in the middle? How can we talk this out? Because I'm here now. I know y'all not feeling what I'm putting out, but we need to talk this out instead of telling people to unfollow.
But Turner? She's taking a different approach. It's like she's saying, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And while that might sound bold at first, it's a risky play in the world of professional sports, because at the end of the day, sports are about more than just the players on the court. They're about the fans in the stands, the community backing the team, and that shared passion for the game.
I know she knew, but we need to have some type of understanding. And we're not having an understanding when you're telling people to unfollow you. Granted, she can't take back what she said, but you don't come right here and slap the people in the face and say, you know what, I'm against this, that, this, and that. If you don't like it, unfollow me.
So, what happens next? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Will Turner stick to her guns and risk becoming a pariah in Indiana? Or will she realize that this fight might not be worth it? Will the Fever step in and try to smooth things over? Maybe make some public gestures to win back the fans? Or will they cut their losses and move on from the drama? And what about the team's chemistry? With all this tension hanging over them, how will it affect the players as they head into what was supposed to be an exciting season? What was meant to be a fresh start could end up being a messy, divisive chapter, one that could have lasting consequences on the court and off. The stakes have never been higher, and it's anyone's guess how it'll all play out.
Caitlin Clark, she declined an invitation to participate in a special challenge during NBA All-Star Weekend next month. That's what Shams reported on Wednesday. Now, Clark's representatives, they expressed her desire to have her first three-point contest be at the WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Shanae, I'm not mad at it. What do you make of this decision?
Look, I not only respect it, I absolutely wholeheartedly support.
Well, it's official, you guys. Caitlin Clark is not competing in the three-point contest at NBA All-Star.
What happens when the biggest star in women's basketball says no to the NBA? Caitlin Clark, a record-breaking force and trailblazer on the court, just did exactly that. In a move that's sparking controversy and shaking up sports media, Clark turned down an invitation to join the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend. Rather than stepping into the spotlight as the NBA's special attraction, she's making a bold statement about where true recognition belongs. Stay tuned as we dive into how this decision is flipping the script and what it means for the future of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark knows how to use the word that many people struggle all their lives being able to use. Some of us never get it till we're old and just don't care no more. The word, take a guess. Take a guess.
Controversy, debate, and, of course, ESPN's outrage. Caitlin Clark, the beacon of the WNBA's future, has just declined an invitation to participate in the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend.
Well, it has just been confirmed from Shams that Caitlin Clark will not be competing in the NBA three-point contest. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will not participate in the NBA All-Star Special three-point shootout in San Francisco and wants her first three-point contest to be at WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Her representatives at Excel Sports.
Rather than celebrating her choice, the sports media exploded into chaos. Some argue she's simply dodging the competition, while others believe she's boldly championing the WNBA. So what's the true story behind her decision, and why is ESPN so incensed? Stick around because we're unpacking every detail right now. All right, let's jump in. The Caitlin Clark saga has been dominating headlines nonstop. In case you haven't caught wind of it, Caitlin Clark, the undeniable superstar of women's basketball, recently declined an invitation to compete in the NBA's three-point contest during this year's All-Star Weekend. And wow, opinions are flying everywhere. From ESPN to NBA fans and WNBA supporters, everyone is weighing in as the debate continues to heat up.
The momentum that Caitlin Clark has this season, with her being close to being the face of basketball, both men's and women's this year, I just thought it was the perfect stage. And then obviously, you know, the possibility of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson teaming up once again back in Golden State and doing that home reunion thing, and then having Sabrina and Caitlin. To me, it just sounded like so much fun, and it would definitely bring a little spark to NBA All-Star that NBA All-Star, unfortunately, hasn't.
Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in women's basketball right now. She's more than just a player. She's a phenomenon. Every time she steps onto the court, she shatters records, fills arenas, and pulls in huge TV audiences. So when she decided to pass on the NBA's invitation, it wasn't just a scheduling conflict, it was a powerful statement, one that clearly caught ESPN and many sports analysts off guard. So what prompted her to make this call? Is she intimidated by the competition? Did she miscalculate? Or is she strategically setting the stage for the future, making a power move that still has many scratching their heads?
Is another testament to where she is in the hierarchy of the sports food chain and, the ladder of power and influence. Because Caitlin Clark is Steph Curry and LeBron James. Like she's, there's no difference. A great philosopher once said there's levels to this. She's on that.
Here's the reality about Caitlin Clark. She knows exactly what she's worth. She's not just some player thrilled to get an invite to a high-profile event. She understands that wherever she goes, the cameras roll, the money flows, and the fans rally. So when the opportunity to participate in an NBA event came along, she didn't jump at it like a rookie trying to prove herself. Instead, she made it clear, "Thanks, but I'll pass. I'll host my first three-point contest on my own terms, in my own league."
You see Caitlin Clark using her power to benefit the WNBA, saying, not that she'd never do anything with the NBA, but that she's not going to do it this time because the first time should be with the WNBA in front of the Fever fans.
And that's exactly what's setting off a firestorm of reactions. For years, women's basketball players have been fighting tooth and nail for recognition, respect, and financial support. The WNBA has long been cast in the shadow of the NBA, and whenever a female athlete earns a smidgen of mainstream acclaim, there's this lingering expectation that she should be grateful for even the smallest scraps of attention from the men's league. But Caitlin Clark isn't subscribing to that narrative, she's rewriting it. She made it abundantly clear that she wants her inaugural three-point contest to take place at the WNBA All-Star Game, right in front of her hometown fans in Indiana. And let's be real, that's a savvy move. Why settle for being the NBA's special guest when she can be the headliner of her own show? Why help prop up the NBA's All-Star Weekend ratings when she can shine the spotlight on the WNBA instead? Of course, not everyone is on board with her decision. The moment she turned down the offer, sports analysts went into overdrive. ESPN pundits began to debate whether she was making a grave error, questioning her judgment, while the usual skeptics claimed she was merely dodging competition. Dodging competition? Come on. Caitlin Clark has never shied away from a challenge. She's been demolishing defenses and shattering records her entire career. If she really wanted to join the NBA's three-point contest, she'd be more than capable of holding her own. But that's precisely the point. She refused because she knows her worth, and she refuses to let others call the shots for her. Stephen A. Smith, as per usual, had a lot to say on the matter. For once, he actually backed Clark's decision, though not without throwing in some of his trademark commentary. He noted that last year's WNBA All-Star Game smashed records by drawing in 3.4 million viewers, while the NBA's All-Star Game struggled to hit numbers anywhere near its former glory. The NBA's All-Star Weekend has been losing its luster, no secret there, and it's obvious they were banking on Caitlin Clark to give them a ratings boost. Let's break that down for a moment. The NBA isn't exactly at its prime during All-Star Weekend. The dunk contest has lost its charm, and even the All-Star Game itself is treated more like a casual exhibition than a true contest. Viewership has been on a steady decline, and the overall energy just isn't what it used to be. So when Caitlin Clark enters the picture, a player who's been single-handedly driving TV ratings through the roof and filling arenas, it's clear the NBA saw a golden opportunity. And frankly, from their standpoint, it made total sense. Imagine the buzz. Caitlin Clark going head-to-head with the NBA's best in a three-point contest. The intrigue alone would pull in millions of viewers. But that's exactly why she declined. She recognized that she was being positioned merely as a ratings tool, and she wasn't about to let that happen. Let's not kid ourselves. If she had accepted, the aftermath would have been just as contentious, albeit for different reasons. A win might have been dismissed as merely a shooting contest, not genuine competition. A loss would have fueled claims that the WNBA just can't compare to the NBA. There was no scenario in which she could emerge unscathed in that setup. Instead, she delivered a bold message. The WNBA matters. She's not a novelty act or a side attraction for the NBA's All-Star Weekend. She's the star of her own league. This move might just be one of the most significant power plays we've seen from a women's basketball player in a long time. It's not about avoiding one contest. It's about transforming the narrative around the WNBA. For too long, critics have argued that women's sports depend on the men's leagues to survive, that without the NBA's support, the WNBA couldn't flourish. But Caitlin Clark is proving that theory wrong. She's driving ticket sales, setting new records, and making women's basketball a must-watch spectacle all on its own. Consider this. Just last year, the WNBA saw a surge in both viewership and merchandise sales. The Indiana Fever, the team Clark plays for, accounted for nearly half of the league's entire broadcast value. Half. That's a staggering figure, and it's all thanks to her influence. She's demonstrating that the WNBA doesn't need to rely on the NBA's leftovers to thrive. It can stand tall with its own stars, its own storylines, and its own dedicated fan base. That's why this decision is so monumental. She's setting a new standard. She's telling the next generation of female athletes, you don't have to latch onto the men's league for validation. You can be the main event in your own right, and the impact is already evident. What began as a decision over a three-point contest has blossomed into a full-blown conversation about the future of women's basketball. That's the magnitude of her influence. So yes, ESPN might be seething, the NBA might feel let down, and some fans might be left scratching their heads. But Caitlin Clark is in complete control of her narrative. She's playing the long game, building something far bigger than a single contest. And honestly, you have to respect that.
The reason why it really, really gets my blood boiling is because it's the exact same thing we see in every other sport. The games where she's not playing have lower viewership.
This has to be a joke. Sue Bird is the last person I'd imagine making these kinds of comments about Caitlin Clark. Seriously, Sue? The epitome of generational talent, someone who's witnessed it all, possesses an in-depth understanding of the game, and navigates the intricate court politics better than anyone else. And now she's behaving this way? Come on!
Some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
This is getting unbelievable. Sue Bird, the WNBA's very own walking history book, has targeted Caitlin Clark. And trust me, it's igniting a lot of conversations.
And yet, we don't hear anyone on the Celtics and the Mavs. That is not how this works. It's because there's some players that are just so transcendent that the viewership's going to be insane no matter what.
Great.
And it has nothing to do with the other players, the other...
Seriously, we're talking about Sue Bird here. She's essentially basketball royalty, yet out of nowhere, she launches an attack on Caitlin Clark, the young star who has been driving the league's ticket sales and viewership through the roof. Why? Apparently, it's because ticket prices and TV ratings have dipped since Clark's team, the Indiana Fever, were knocked out of the playoffs. But that's hardly shocking. Clark is a true fan magnet, plain and simple.
And to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had and still continues to have on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, Sue Bird.
Honestly, just look at the Golden State Valkyries, an expansion team that's already sold out around 18,000 season tickets. Clark doesn't even play for them, yet her influence is undeniable. Still, some people keep twisting the narrative. I've seen Stephen Smith discuss it, I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it, and here's what I don't understand. They work for ESPN. Why are they attacking a product that's literally part of their business?
Stephen A. and with Shannon, there's an aspect of them like defending their stances on her. Like, we were right about Caitlyn and this is our defense. And I still think there's something twisted there because nobody ever said.
It's not that they can't express their opinions, but Sue didn't just mention it and move on. Oh no, she went all out, even pulling Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp into the fray. And let's be honest, those two are renowned for their brutally honest takes on everything. So, what exactly is Sue Bird upset about? Is it Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp calling it as they see it? It's not even like they're wrong.
I don't know how you explain, like, honestly, look at the Golden State Valkyries. It's an expansion team. They've already sold out, I think it's 18,000 season tickets. Caitlyn doesn't play there. And yet some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
Let's dive into the entire Bird versus Clark drama for a moment. Could this be stemming from bitterness? Let's be honest. Caitlyn Clark skyrocketed to become the face of women's basketball almost overnight. She's drawing massive crowds and achieving viewership numbers like no one else ever has. But then Sue steps in, casting shade on anyone who dares to acknowledge the obvious. The WNBA is struggling to keep pace without Clark on the court.
Sue Bird calls out ESPN hosts for, quote, hating on WNBA playoff ratings after Caitlyn Clark's exit. You say, what? Why? Why, y'all? Really? This is where we have to go?
The WNBA tries to portray its achievements as the product of collective advancement. But let's be honest, is Caitlyn Clark truly propelling the league forward? Without her, TV ratings drop, ticket sales plunge, and merchandise revenue disappears. The league should be going above and beyond to keep her satisfied, instead of clinging to outdated pay structures that scream, "We don't truly value you." Fans aren't oblivious to this nonsense. Social media is inundated with demands for change. People are highlighting the absurdity of her salary relative to her impact. It's not just a matter of fairness, it's a business issue. You don't underpay the individual who is vital to your survival. That's not only poor optics, it's poor math. Yet, the WNBA seems too busy celebrating minor growth to realize they're engaging in a risky strategy. If they don't evolve, they risk losing not only Clark, but also the entire momentum she has built. Talented players like her are rare. They're once-in-a-generation athletes who can transform a sport. If the WNBA fails to find a way to compensate her appropriately, don't be shocked if other leagues or opportunities come her way.